Hey guys, it's the guy who lives in his van down by the river that you wish you knew in your whole life. That I've always been an interesting character with whomever I've chummed with. Because I'm onto this phenomenon that other people haven't heard the story this way, I get a little extra guff from it. Hard times. And I'm trying to figure out how to explain things to you guys. 4-year study, and it is extremely stressful. The fear I have felt at times has been so huge. But like I've tried to explain it before, people I don't know how I'm tapped so well into the calmness of it. But I am very extremely upset that I'm not getting through to you guys. And lately I thought, wow, my videos, my titles are coming up good. You know, there's a lot of action in my videos and people are commenting. Lots of people I haven't even ever heard comments before, giving comments of how their eyes are opening to this and so on and so forth. And lots of different people explaining they're thankful that my mustache just looks way out of whack there. That they're, just getting the language I'm talking about and so on and so forth. Like they're picking up on stuff really well. Well, I really have to get to this point where I keep you guys for more than a minute, for more than 2 minutes on this kind of level of the conversation. And I have to start explaining to you some phenomenons that mysterious kind of different things that are going on around the world. And every one of them that I'm going to try to say right now, I can tell you with 100% promising of my life that I have information in this full pattern of a story that connects all these things. And if you actually hear me, some of the people are connecting a certain amount of them, different people certain amounts. Maybe somebody's almost right with me on all the subjects. But every time I've said towards a new subject, there's obviously people going, oh yes, yeah, that too. That's right. And it's because how they're already relating wherever they are. And then I just say a little couple of tidbits and it gets them, I wonder if the camera picks up on that little drip of water that fell from, no, it wouldn't have missed, gotten it. So, out there, the wildfires. They blow minds of people. Our science doesn't understand what's going on with that. Wildfires. Flooding. We're not understanding how the rivers and stuff are getting ahead of us. And all of a sudden creating these big surges of water where the accumulation of water is kind of being built up. And then we have some heavy rain and then some disastering kind of flooding, or maybe just taking out different bridges, different things like that. Concrete cracking, pavement cracking, sidewalks falling apart, building foundations cracking where their vertical lines are going up and down on the side of the foundation and not horizontal like the horizon. And in many cases, you can end up counting these cracks, 4 feet apart. Sometimes you'll come back and then you'll realize, wow, now they're like 2 feet apart. they're adding in between, and so on and so forth. If you notice any of the tree peculiarness, like we are vast full of trees everywhere in the world, except places that maybe haven't been hit yet or whatever, but all of our tree nations in so many different countries, you go and look and they're just rich green, beautiful. Here now we got the fall going on, the winter, so our greenness is a little bit different. The glowing phenomenon that people think are UFOs. You talk to everybody that talks about a UFO and they go to light. They go to glowing energy, like a light, usually a white light, an amber light is probably 90-something% of the recalling. Some people will say it's just a craft. They'll just try to be convincing you that it was just a craft, and you try to get them to describe it to you, and they either won't, or they might try to lean towards something else that's shiny, like silver color. But the reason why I said 90% and stuff is because there are commonalities of colors that we would understand to be in the sky. And that is red and blue also. Like with a police helicopter, and with different marking lights and stuff like this. So those are also part of the lights that the colors that are in that smaller percentage there. Shadow, black, dark color is color. Shadow, that's one of the other colors of the craft. So it's just a black craft. Even photos show up like that, where you're thinking they're almost blanking out the photo or something like that, and it's like, no guys, you're seeing two phases maybe of color together there, where it's white light, glowing phenomenon, and the shadowing extent of the light. And just, sure, you want to argue with me, but let your mind just follow with what I'm saying. Coming across a lot of wild animals like deer in peculiar spots that you're used to, and they're very calm by nature. And part of the reason for that is they've kind of had the spooked out of them. Like there's no sense being so antsy because there's nothing going on, and it gets out of them after a while. But at first they're being really spooked, and then it starts to wear down, and it's a control thing. Keep them going this way on the spooking. And yeah, they bring them into convenient areas where communities are and so on and so forth for feeding. I would imagine that's how it really seems. It's the best logic on that part that I come to. A lot of murdered animals, a lot of mutilated cats, dogs that come home with their one paw just chopped off. Cats, and their tails are stripped, and they still have their bone of a tail going there, but it's just been stripped right at the body there. Ears cut, chopped up, sliced down into them. Noses cut off, lips cut off. Dead, laying on front of your on your hood of your car, or at your front stoop where the grandma comes out. Squirrels, rabbits, at our local parks and stuff where the kids come up and there's no blood involved in many of these dead animals. Cats where this bone is removed out of their arm. Their paw's still there and their elbow up is still there. And it's cut open. See, there's not really magic going on. If you guys listen to me, you probably will fight thinking, well, there's too much that I can relate with what he's saying. And that's why, is because there's not magic. It's noise. The heavy amount of noise is going on. Like, sonic booming noises, vibrating noises where you think you almost feel it more than you hear it. Where it's vibrating and you know it's vibrating from a ways away, and your ears are feeling a vibration. They're not even really picking up on the noise. If there's any kids in the room, Uncle Ian's about to smoke, so. And lightning showers, like where there's a big shower of lightning, different kinds of lightning, where you're thinking, wow, that's all sheet lightning. And then over there, just, you know, and when you're seeing the people who get to see all these different things that I talk about it, and when I try to get you to look into the shadows in the forest and actually zoom into that, you know, zoom into this hidden dark area right there and bring that small into your camera there and see if you end up noticing any of those different colors in there, you know, and you start to realize, okay, that just looks like, as I'm looking, my eyes are starting to pick up on the different stuff there, and it's just brush, or maybe am I seeing some finger glasses? Because I don't talk about my commonalities of words. I just look and I see and I get my answers. And I'm not thinking about the very basic answers that you might be craving. Because I am so far beyond basic answers. I know that they cover Earth. That they're, you know, that they're everywhere. I go on many different channels. Well, I have a select of a few different channels that I go on. Like there's this one in particular guy. Can't remember his name, but he films all the excavators over in, you know, I don't even know if it's Malaysia or something like that. And it's beautiful jungle, different stuff compared to us here. But I get to see the beings hiding back in the forest. I don't get to see them the way that Patty from 1967 is walking along there. There's nobody who's willing to do that kind of stuff. They know stuff's going on. They know they can be seen, and so on and so forth. So they have no problem chilling. And most people who get them realize they really don't have much of a problem chilling. There's this other guy that I watched that he's an airplane. He's an air pilot, super smart guy. Juan, his first name's Juan. Yeah. And he's just all around very experienced man. And so I enjoy his show. He's done a few different, like, there was this dam rebuild that had to be done. So I like to watch that because he would do aerials of it, drone shots, and he might even flew over once or twice too to show us. Can't recall on there, but if you're interested at all, just remind me here, and I'll put them down below. And that's where I'll know somebody's watched this far, or that's where I will know that people care. Like, go back on a few of my videos right now. Nobody's saying jack shit. And it's kind of like, do I have to say all that stuff at the same time? I am not there, guys. I'm not the guy who's trying to win anybody over. I'm the guy there that's doing research. I'm like a boring research person. You might like me. You might be into me a bit. You might be even into my style. You might be able to read my style. You might be one of those people who's getting a lot from me and what I present and stuff. Because I do have a good number of those people out there. But to keep reminding you that you got to go back and kind of watch me in series a bit. Like, this is going to be a university, college kind of educational program stuff, at least that will build that program. And they will be looking from my work to be building these. They won't be looking from somebody else's work that doesn't relate with all of this subject that I'm talking about. I'm including the beings on Earth, the many different looks of the beings on Earth that we don't get to see. We just are getting more and more hints that they're around. And I can tell you how they've been around from a very long time ago. And I relate it to you through the trees. And I've done lots of series on it, teaching you how to study the trees, to right away be able to go, okay, well, I got that very good, strong point that Ian is trying to show us right now, and I'm going to go verify that thing, because that's to do your first verification is easy, the one that I tell. Anyway, so, and I'm not going to say it right now. You can ask me about it, and I will make my little statement. Maybe I'll recall a video where you can go watch the video and get a good lesson on it. But the bark design that we see it's their fingerprint, it's their trademark, it wouldn't be the character we see out in the forest that it is today if they had never evolved. And what science will figure out is, would the forest have ever evolved because of these, if these guys didn't exist? And I personally say, nope. I say the way the forest is on the world, on Earth, is because of these guys. The way the rivers pattern on the world, in high percentages, is because of these guys. Different landslides and mountain slides, and maybe even partial mountains that come down and such, when it comes to I'm not referring to in snow conditions. Those have a percentage that are done with these. The mutilated cattle and horses out there that we find that have no blood in them and different things, that is because of them. I have body functions of these beings that will relate to the pros that have veterinarians and different people who have gotten right into the study of that field of those certain murders. And they've studied them down to a point where they know every fraction of what's going on with that cat and that dog, and many for a statement on what veterinarians around the world say when they come across a cat that's been mutilatedly murdered, where they have to investigate it to figure out who is the psycho doing this. They in some countries they're saying that they're surgically operated on and cut and stuff. In some countries they're saying they use tools to operate on these animals. On other countries they're saying that it is knives and such that they're operating on these cats with and stuff. But surgical precision. You go back and you hear me in my first couple of months, less than a couple of months, you will hear me say, these guys are artists with their ability in cutting. They will blow us away with our skills. I don't know if they would be able to really know how to grab a log and do a carving like me. I suspect that some could probably do that down to almost like a look where this part of the carved wood looks to be a hat, and this looks to be and so on and so forth. But with the assistance of how we perceive things, and say if I've thought this, and you're able to sit and buddy with one and get him to see your perception of what you want the carving like, then I would say it will look like this. And I almost feel lighter right now from the ending of that story, relating kind of personality workings. Like, I work into personality stuff all the time. I'm communicating with them. You may not want to believe it. I might not be as successful as I think I am. It might be a disaster to be doing. It could be exceptionally positive for us in our relationships, what I'm doing. Could be dangerous for my children. But overall, if there's any danger, I just want it to be me. I'm only trying to do it at a pace that I'm continuously being able to tell that I'm being accepted. It's not an easy task to sneak inside a prison's walls. It's not an easy task to go over a border into another country, especially when you know or believe they're going to be watching and hunting out for you. There's, and don't just think the American-Mexico border. There's borders out there where we're talking you get shot for climbing over the wall, not arrested. You probably will get shot even coming too close to the border. Some of those Arab countries, like, say, Turkey or something like that, and you're sneaking into Iraq, or Iraq into Turkey, stuff like that. I'm there, man. How we understand a militant mind, I'm there. Am I as good as the trained beret, or whatever you call those guys? Green beret or something? No. But he's not trained at all with my mission. Not at all. These guys go out there and do missions and they disappear. Military guys, or one of the military guys will just disappear. We don't get to hear those stories. We get to hear only great amount of stories from 411 missing. David Paulides. And that guy has done so much, and people don't know it. And his biggest thing he wants to say is, go in groups. He probably doesn't even want to say go in groups of 2, but he will say minimally go in groups of 2. But I bet you he wants to say higher than that. The facts and statistics that man knows about what's going on out there, I encourage my kids to watch that show. To young adults, to watch that show so they can feel me a little bit more and realize that I'm not bullshitting you. Because that guy gives a better message of safety. And what I try to say and pray is someday I get to meet that guy and he wants to hear what I have to say. I don't need to know his stories. I know his stories and I get it. And I listen to them and I watch them and I want to know them. But I don't need to know them. It helps give me the juice. He needs to know my information. He doesn't need to know it fact for fact right off the bat. He just needs to know some of it. So he starts to realize, okay, this guy actually is carrying a booklet of information. And maybe he is our next step. I'm just a normal guy. People call, you know how I'm humble. I'm trying to be a humble person. I only am humble, I think. I think my kids would say I'm pretty humble. And it's pretty easy to pick up on that reading of humble, as I say as a father. Because if you're not humble and stuff, you generally will irritate your children in a needy, greedy kind of way. I might irritate them too much on this subject. And other than that, I probably don't irritate them very much. And they're 19 to 23 years old, and there's 4 of them, and there's 2 and 2. And anyways, and you got to take my word for it, but you're taking my word for it on a lot of years of stuff, and my word has never changed. It's only grown to more information. Adjustments, maybe a few, but the subject has only gotten bigger. And people who have an issue with Bigfoot beings and supernatural beings, well, you tell me a Bigfoot isn't supernatural. How is a Bigfoot not supernatural? How come they're not being seen like bears get seen? Is there more than them than the black bear? Do you know? Do you have a guess? You start following me, you can start to be able to get guesses going on with stuff. And lately I've been putting out there that you gotta think pretty small. Think about a softball size, but black shadowing, black marking in trees. Doesn't necessarily mean that as the bush is going on, like say the blackness is right through my hands there, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not following up with a more size, right? But I am saying that this blackness that we get to see, that softball size, is something for you to pay attention to. Down at the base of trees and stuff, start counting and looking at black on some of my videos and start registering, okay, well, I see 1 million of that tone of green. I see 1 million of that tone of green, 100,000 of that tone. I see and can tell that brown stumps, the